Patricia Bissett autopsy?
It was a bad one. She was pregnant.
Mr. Nielsen, please.
He's not in today. Could I give him a message?
Gene Cole with the Record American. Patricia Bissett was his secretary?
That's right.
Mr. Nielsen and Patricia were having an affair. Everyone in the office knew.
That's everything.
All right. Give me some time. I gotta wade through this pile of shit first.
Don't wait on these.
Boston Police Department. Gordon Nielsen?
Yes.
Hands on the wall.
Caught Nielsen removing evidence from Patricia's apartment. He failed 2 polygraph tests, but the DA still doesn't think he has a case, and there's nothing tying him to the other murders.
Loretta?
My name's Detective Linsky. I'm with the New York City Police Department. I'm calling about a murder we had down here a couple of weeks ago.
It could be the original Strangler murder, but no one can get Boston Homicide to look into it.
And this cop in New York will go on the record.
Already did.
Looks like it could be linked to the Strangler. Older lady. And she turned up dead in a hotel room. Strangled.
We're not running a hit job on the police department.
They're blowing the investigation. How long can we keep ignoring it?
I don't know how many times we have to tell you, but we're not doing it.
His name is Paul Dempsey. Lives up in Maine, but I can place him in Boston at the time of the first 5 murders.
Turns out Paul Dempsey was a suspect in a murder in Maine 4 years before the first Strangler murder. The victim was an elderly woman found strangled with her stockings tied around her neck.
I'm assuming you went to Boston Homicide with this?
First call I made. Couldn't get anyone to call me back.
I mean, she's right. We can't keep looking the other way. You really want to use this paper to tear down the police department?
A couple weeks ago, we got a call about this guy. Was harassing these girls in their apartment. And Boston won't share any information with us, so we just let him go.
The Attorney General held a press conference today to announce that he is assuming command of the Boston Strangler investigation after a critical story in the Record American.
I come to find out he's one of their prime suspects. We had him. We just let him walk away.
To suggest that the Boston Police Department is leaving any stone unturned is absurd.
What was his name?
Off the record, Albert Desalvo.
Desalvo had 2 cons, the Green Man and the Measuring Man. They called him the Green Man because he put on green workman's clothes and...
She said a man came to her apartment the day Sophie was killed. Now, first he said he was there to paint the apartment, and then he asked her if she ever thought about modeling.
And what about the measuring man?
I don't know where he came up with this one, but he'd pretend to be a modeling scout. I worked Desalvo for weeks. I loved him for it. It's not him.
What makes you so sure?
He was in prison for the first 6 murders, didn't he?
Desalvo petitioned the judge for early release. The judge let him out for good behavior.
So he was out in time?
2 months before the first murder.
The suspect is presently confined in a state mental hospital for allegedly assaulting a woman last December.
We got beat.
Who the hell is F. Lee Bailey?
A hotshot defense lawyer, one of those press hounds.
She didn't recognize him?
Not only did she not recognize him, she ID'd someone else.
Who?
George Nasser.
He always telling the truth.
I obtained 5 details only the killer could know. When I quizzed Desalvo, he went 5 for 5.
Mr. Desalvo, we are here today because you intend to confess to all 13 Boston Strangler murders. Is that correct?
Yes.
They're not going to charge Albert with Beverly's murder. Or any of the murders, for that matter.
The murder stopped. The guy's in jail. What the hell else you want?
They botched the biggest investigation in the city's history.
They made a deal with his lawyer. And they can't use his confession in court. But they have him on other charges.
A possible intruder at Oak Tower Apartments.
State police!
Detective DeLine, Michigan State Police. I don't know if you're aware, but we had 6 women strangled near Ann Arbor. All the crime scenes were damn near identical to the Boston Strangler.
Daniel Marsh's ex-girlfriend was killed by the Boston Strangler. He was my favorite suspect for her murder, and he's here in Ann Arbor.
He was arrested for assaulting his girlfriend. Dr. Roby evaluated him at Bridgewater and had him committed.
Did he overlap with Desalvo?
They were in there together for 3 months. in the same ward.
Excuse me, I'm looking for Richard Desalvo. There's nothing I can do if you won't talk to me.
Uploaded by him, but I'm not making any promises.
Record American.
Yes, this is Albert Desalvo. Is Loretta there?
Come here tomorrow at visiting hours.
Hey, it's Jack. A report just came over the wire. Desalvo was killed in his cell.
He was in there with them. He knew what they were up to.
Martian Desalvo.
And Nasser.
George Nasser? How did you know each other?
We were cellmates.
Before he confessed?
Yeah, for a couple months.
You know, the three of them were always working on Desalvo's confession.
But what did they care if Desalvo confessed? You're the one who gets picked out of the lineup, and you just happened to be Desalvo's cellmate.
Reward money. That's why Nasser got his lawyer involved.
Why were you helping him?
Reward money. 10 grand a victim.
He told Albert that he could get him a book deal, make him rich and famous. Albert thought he was gonna make $1 million off it.
So you all created a myth. And it needed to be stopped. People wanted to believe it was Albert.
Other men used the Strangler as cover to get rid of women they didn't want around anymore. The boss who got his secretary pregnant, psychotic ex-boyfriend.